As I'm nearing the end of the year, I just wanted to kind of reflect back on my experiences as an international student, what I would do again if I were to go back and what I wouldn't have done. If I were to go back, I don't think I would have decided on one specific major. I would like to explore a little bit more. Honestly, as a 18-year-old, you're just so young to really decide on what your entire career will be. And a lot of the people who enter their mid-year career, they don't continue in that major that they studied in college. So just keeping that in mind, I think I would have loved to explore a little bit, go on maybe semester abroad, study abroad, and experience a lot of things. In my freshman year, I didn't know it was that important to just kind of get an internship. I thought internships were mostly for students who had grad school in mind, but really, you really don't know what's going to happen in the future. Your career will change, your aspect in life will change, your pursuits, they all change. And I promised myself that I would never ever pursue education further than bachelor's, but here I am today. I've already applied to grad school. I'm considering maybe going back and getting a second bachelor's degree. You just really don't know what life holds in front of you, ahead of you. So I would just recommend, just try out everything. I think the biggest fear and regret was I had some different interests like finance, economics, marketing, biology, but all of them I ignored because I felt that the job sector wasn't really growing. But I had no one tell me that if I really pursue what I want to do and I achieve the top 10%, opportunities are going to just grab hold of me. What I did pursue was a bigger field, a bigger stretch of a career, and I just had to make myself fit in that frame. I couldn't outgrow it. I didn't have any interests to stretch myself, so I think there was a little lack of growth there. But all in all, I don't regret what I did. I just believe that everything that happened in the past has a purpose in my future. Kind of along with that, I regret not attending too much social activities. I was kind of in that safe bubble, and although I am a people lover and I initiated a lot of groups, meetings, hangouts with friends, I didn't take professionalism too much into my extracurriculars. I wish I had done a little bit more in terms of interacting with friends outside my circle and going out of that safe space. And going to conferences, networking with professors. I think networking with professors is something that is always challenging. When I didn't get the subject, I always had the option of should I ask my friends or should I ask my profs or YouTube? And I think asking profs was kind of always the last one in the line. But having mentors and having your profs as mentors, I think, is a great boost in your life. Whether you want to pursue the same industry in that field that you're studying, or whether you want to seek outside growth and opportunities, you can just hear a lot more experience of people who are way ahead in their lives. And one other thing is, as someone that wasn't very well off, I was working 20 hours a week because that was the maximum number of hours that international students could work on campus. From, I think, the second month in my freshman year, I started working 2 jobs. I did what I had to do at the time, but I was working 20 hours, and that's a lot of hour and effort and energy that I could have invested in elsewhere. I was earning maybe $8.45 in my first year, and in my senior year, maybe I was working $11 or $13, I forget. Honestly, that's only $100 a week, and yes, it was good allowance because I never got the allowance from my parents, but I wish I wasn't so stressed out about it. There were so many times where I was like, am I here to study or am I here to work? And in my very final summer that I worked as an intern, the little sum of money that I earned really didn't do much, The jobs weren't any professional experiences either. They were mostly cleaning or front desk experience, receptionist experience. Thanks to those various job experiences, I did get more scholarships and whatnot. But I just want to say, doing part-time jobs might not be worth it all. There's always other things you could invest in, like friendships, community experience, volunteering, and it just brings so much more depth and growth inside of you. A lot of the times I was focused on, oh, if I buy this clothes that's $20, I have to work 2 hours, I should have invested and focused on more areas where I would do the same amount of work but for more dollars. During that time, I was so focused on getting the 20 hours in, doing the maximum amount. So doing the maximum amount that was available. But I should have looked for jobs that, maybe paid like $20 an hour instead of $8. Or maybe like getting part-time internships at nearby schools. I think those are very great experiences to have as well. And if I were to go back, I would have opened a Chase credit card. I was content with a Discover card, but if I had opened a Chase Sapphire Preferred in my first year, then I could have earned another bonus in my senior year. And so time is really a resource that you just have more of as you're in your 20s. I ignored that I should have invested in my freshman year instead of my junior year. I should have invested more in spending time with friends, in buying meals rather than eating off of them. These are just some lessons that I learned. And before you come as an international student, make sure to really see whether you're a person that can just be friends with other students who are not international. Just in my personal experience, I think I would have had a hard time if I didn't have any other international students around me, and that's just me. I know it can be different for every person, and every school is really different. For bigger schools, there are some states where it's just more diverse, and there's some states where it's mostly white or mostly Hispanic. And it really just does depend on geographic areas. I really didn't have any idea on how different universities could be in terms of student size, campus size, or suburbs, more city. There's so many characteristics of a college, and now I understand why high schoolers do campus tours. As international students, it's really hard to do that. And I've never gone on a campus tour either. My first college was my first college. Try to explore a little bit more about the international student body size. If you're someone who grew up in a different country all your life, just kind of trying to blend your past experience and what you want your future colleagues, coworkers, and roommates to be. I personally just had a lot of Korean friends in my university. I would have liked a little bit more like diversity. I also, for one, just was more comfortable speaking Korean, just hanging out and living with them. But there is also the fact the specific college that I went to was just kind of predominantly white. Diversity was just like a lack in the entire city. It's just harder when you share different things, when your cultures are different. I think it just takes extra effort, for sure. And unless you're living in like a big city, like New York, Boston, like Seattle, you're gonna need a car. For me, my college life was pretty bland just because I didn't have a car for the entire 4 years. And it's hard when you don't have one, and it's really difficult just to rely on Uber all the time or rely on upperclassmates who have a car. My college life was mostly kind of brought out just in the dorms in my apartment. I realized that having a car makes your whole life different, easier. It just brings your entire geographic location onto another level. The beach was like 40 minutes away, and during those 4 years, I only went to the beach just once in my life, which was during freshman orientation. Thinking about that, I wish I had a car, but my financial means just couldn't make it happen. And if you're going to a rural or like a suburban place where your college is, and your college doesn't have any shuttles or things like that, be prepared just kind of to accept that college campus life, and you won't have too much outside of it, but still make friends who have cars. And if I learned one thing in the US, it's that if you don't have one but you want it, make a friend who already has it. Really, people, connections, and memories are really all that lasts. I think it's because of those memories that I'm still here in the US, that I still make connections. It's that I still go visit friends during holidays and Christmas season. Create those intimate connections, because they're gonna ultimately be the ones who are gonna be there at your graduation, when you're sick, when you have the happiest news, or when your family or friends back home become sick. They're just gonna be your second family, and you'll have a lot of homes in the US depending on how many and how much depth your relationship grows into. So make those friendships, make those connections that really last, because life in the US can be pretty lonely. If I can say one thing, get more communities. I learned that after college, you really need to kind of push yourself out there without breaking too much of your own safe space. If I have the energy, I try to grab a one-on-one coffee or something with a friend. It's hard to really do that nowadays. Just lying in bed is really the one thing that actually brings me comfort. Life in college isn't always that easy, but it has its benefits, and I hope your experience in the US is a good one.